Let's see.
There you are.
All right. So,
all right. So do you guys want to take, you said you wanted to take 2 sections each?
So I'm thinking we'll just take 2 sections each and then put our parts on the discussion board, the group discussion board, and then I'll put everything in, and then I'll come up with one copy.
Sounds perfect.
So we can edit that, and then Jen, are you going to submit?
Oh, yeah, I can totally do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does that work for you, Sarah?
What is Sarah's last name?
S-A-A-R-I. I just typed it in the chat.
Okay. And
yeah,
so it's Sarah with an A-H or just a R-A?
No H.
No H?
Yeah, R-A. Yeah, no H.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right.
Okay. So, Sarah, is there one of the 2 sections that you want to do? So that way you only have to focus on taking notes for that section. You want to do the summary?
Or how about the real important relationship considerations?
Okay.
Recommended coping strategy.
Okay, so Sarah's going to take the note important relationship considerations.
Okay.
And coping strategies.
Okay.
So, and then I'll do the summary. Like I said, I had that written up already.
Okay.
And then, Jen, what 2 parts do you want to do?
I will do, I'll do the summary. Wait, you said you already had that done, Brooke?
Yeah.
Or Justine?
No, Justine's planning on doing the summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do the principles and concept from the course and the risks and dangers.
Okay. Brooke, what 2 do you want?
What's left? I'll do the opportunities and supporting involved parties is fine.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I just realized I need to pull up my case study. Give me a second. Okay, so what I have for summary is I have Mohammed Khorton. Of course, we're going to murder these names because we're not Islamic. A 7-year-old boy plays in his front yard with chickens. When rockets hit his home and a piece of shrapnel hit him in the ribs and punctured his lung. Mohammed doesn't seem to be bothered by the injury, but it brought back terrible memories to his father, Osama. After Mohammed's injury, another rocket hit the house, killing his son, Ahmed. With the consistent arguing between Israelis, I think that's another word I need to use, or a different word, between Israeli and Palestinians, Osama feels that the real targets are the civilians. This difficult time has cost him his job, and now he relies on family to help him and his family financially. Osama has tried to form a better life by trying to build peace, create memories, and have another child, but nothing will bring back and bring peace to Osama's soul. Despite being hurt, Mohammed continues to be happy and is looking forward to going back to school and loving life. With the summary.
Okay, so
I need to do a little bit of editing there.
Osama is also on government assistance.
Okay.
He has a daughter who needs psychological help and has anger issues. Abdul, Osama's other son, wants to seek vengeance by killing Israelis. So those are the things that I felt like, other than what you said, those were other important things I felt that were relevant to this case. Also, I guess Osama said that he's used to this, that he's upset and sad about it, but he also has accepted this war-torn way as his way of life. So kind of that grim acceptance, I guess, I thought was relevant to the case. But
okay. And then their ability, even though their acceptance, they don't understand what their future is, so they kind of live in the
limbo.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the summary? Sarah, do you have anything? Okay. Let's move forward. Listening. Okay, so this is, okay, so Jen's taking notes. List principles or concepts from the course that can be applied in offering help or direction for this family.
Okay.
I must have had just like a brain meltdown. I don't know.
Well,
First, I think first part that I came up with was obviously the CTB, the cognitive behaviors.
That's what I did too.
So, we need to come to grips with actually, especially Osama, to come to grips with how he's actually feeling and knowing that it's not his fault at all.
Jen, do you want to?
Family.
Yeah, I'm just typing away, guys. So
I was going to say, do you want to share what you have, and then if you miss anything that we didn't get, then we'll fill in.
Okay. Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay. So CBT theory, the ABCX model. I think it would be helpful for them to break down their crisis so they can understand the stressors that come from it. So I put that their initial crisis is war. However, now they have other crises like lack of unemployment, health issues, neighbors and family members, maybe some of them have gone, some of them are now displaced, maybe they're refugees. Then the opportunities for their neighborhood schools, education, things like that are lost. So maybe if they use the model to kind of define, okay, what is the initial stressor and how can I, go through that? And then hang on, I got to go to my paper. The other one I thought was counseling with their families, the counsel with your counsel. I think it's important for them to come together as a family and talk about their experiences. One thing that I thought was kind of degrading to their family is that they named their son after their son that passed away, which they did to kind of keep his memory alive. However, I think that is not, in my mind, they're not really able to heal from that tragedy because, I don't know, he's kind of on their mind and might cause another stressor for the son, for that boy.
It could, but you need to understand their culture. There's a lot of people in the Middle East like that where all of their children have the same first name.
Yeah, it's true.
It could be a cultural thing. I know for us, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it does.
But yeah, you're right. It is
a
cultural thing.
It did say, though, in the case that we read on NPR, that the whole point was they wanted to keep his name alive. So they did focus on what Jen was saying, and so you're right. I think you're both right. I think it is not totally out of the realm of.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't trying to go against what Jen said.
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay.
It's a cultural influence. It's to add to her point.
Oh, gotcha.
So that sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Oh no, I
Sorry,
know. It's hard though. Don't you guys think like
So-
that would be painful for their family, maybe for their son, the son that's named after the dead brother, to kind of like move forward? He would always have that kind of hanging over his head a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is
No,
that?
I agree with you, and I wrote that down in the it's Sarah's section, but about relationships.
Mhm.
That Ahmed and his dad, like Ahmed would probably really struggle to ever feel like he could be good enough, because like if you think about like when somebody dies, a lot of times we forget their faults, especially if it was a child or somebody who died in tragic circumstances. Like we almost turn them into perfect in our minds. And so I felt like that would be something for the family, was that Ahmed would struggle to, anyway, yeah.
Kind of goes back to that CBT theory about the woman and her guilt that she had with the tragedy of her daughter, and then she was trying to do that with the other daughter. So it's kind of like that. I don't know how I'm going to explain that in CBT theory, but
there's nothing that he could have done. That's the thing.
yeah, it's like maybe he can use that CBT theory to explain, okay, this was a hard thing, but you're carrying guilt that's unnecessary.
Right. You're taking responsibility for somebody setting off a missile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't you that was intentionally targeted, because Osama feels like the civilians are being the ones targeted, and it's not their fault. They have nothing to contribute to this.
Yeah.
They're not the contributors to this fight.
Yeah.
But, right. So something to go along with what you said is that the education in the school and everything, that's redefining, because they've lost some of their neighborhood. They're having to redefine their family system.
Yeah, so that goes on with like family resiliency. They have to, that's another one that I'm going to put in there. They have to determine, okay, what kind of family are we? And that can even go with typology model too. I can list that as well. Just saying, okay, well, the type of family that we are is going to help us do through the trial, through the crisis. So I'll list that too, that if they kind of can evaluate, okay, are we strong enough to face this trial, or is this affecting us too much that we need to move, that we need to, reevaluate our situation. So family resiliency, typology, and I don't know, maybe the double ABCX model too, to kind of show that.
I put that one. Yeah, I put it.
What happened now, like after the fact.
Well, it's all about, first you adjust to something new, and then you have to adapt if that continues, or if your whole way of life has changed. And with the loss of a loved one, your whole life changes.
Yeah.
And if you want to think about it solely in the sense of resources, well, Ahmed was a resource. He was a family member. He was a place of love, hope for your future, hope for his future. Like the dad having the college picture of him up on the wall, like that's, he had plans for his son's future, and that's a lost resource for the family, talking solely about resources. And their new son, Ahmed, is seen as a gift from God, also a resource to help with the loss. And so it's like their whole life has changed, and their feelings have changed, and so their emotional resources have changed. They're, like you were talking about with the systems, their systems have changed. School has changed. Cute little Mahmoud didn't get to go to school, for a while. And so it is definitely the double ABCX model, because they had to adjust at first when they had a loss, but now that it's a way of life and war is a way of life, you have to adapt, and you have to see how your life is going to be and find a way to work in this whole new, like long-term change that you experience. So I definitely think that one fits well.
Okay.
Sarah, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, David, but where Osama might feel like well, Ahmed might feel like it was his job to replace his brother. But
Mm-hmm.
also, Osama might feel like his family or wife was not taking care of the oldest son when he got killed. And, I mean, that's kind of one of those out there ones, but he might have that thought and be a little bit standoffish to his wife.
Okay. Get that?
I didn't hear that last part. Like, so she's saying that the son might feel awkward now, or
No, that the
the
father.
the
That
father.
he won't necessarily feel as close to Ahmad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that emotional trying to put up or hard.
Okay, emotional disconnect. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you're trying to protect yourself from feeling lost again, so you don't allow yourself to connect. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that one goes okay there, but I also feel like that would probably fit well underneath the relationship considerations.
Yeah, I think
Right,
that's
exactly.
I think we should put that there
Right.
instead.
Yeah, and that's what she just said.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hard to hear. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, no. So the next section is relevant risks and dangers, and Jen, this is also your section. So why don't you again just name off what you have, and then we'll supplement what you've got.
Okay, so obviously the elephant in the room is their physical safety. So that's their danger that they live every day. And then leading in with that, I put their psychological issues. They suffer panic, stress, worry, fear. They could have real emotional stress, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, all sorts of stuff because of that stress that they're faced with every day. They face health issues, I think, from poor nutrition and lack of good resources. Perhaps they don't have like good running water, stuff like that. Then I would say education opportunities. They don't have, their facilities as well, like stores, libraries, things like that. They don't have any opportunities with that. With their, the lack of government protection. They don't have any stability in their government. And so that affects, I think, the way people act and feel, that they have a stable living environment with their government, with their city, their town. I think that contributes to their quality of life. And so that's a direct danger. And then I would think their emotional relationships, they don't have a lot of, they do have family connection, and that's good, but they still have losses. And so they still have a lot of sadness and grief because of the things that have happened. And so I think that affects emotional relationships, like husbands and wives, their marital relationship and the dynamic between the siblings, the way that the kids live. They don't have good opportunities just to be a child, playtime, things like that. I mean, this little boy was hit when he was playing. And so I think community risks, they don't have a sense of community. So that's kind of what I said. Huh? Okay, sorry. That's what I put.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about World War II and all the British families sending their children to outlying areas, where they weren't going to be hit with bombs. So there was no safe zone. No matter where they were, there was no safe zone.
Right, and that is a great point, Justine, that you just put in there. I'm going to put that. They don't feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, there's a point when that really affects you if you don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And, you know, because there's times in our lives when you have moments where you're panicking, you're stressed out, but then that ends.
Yeah.
But if you're in a constant state of fear, you know, that high stress is always there, that brick on your shoulder, that panic, you know, that little thing in your chest where it's like not going away.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I
Yep.
think
I agree.
they don't feel safe ever.
So there are a couple that I felt were hanging over them. One of them is that Abdul wants he wants vengeance, and so there's the risk of him getting involved in the conflict when he's older, but also just for a young child to have such feelings of wanting to kill and hurt, I think is a real danger for him and his life, but the effect that could have on the family. You know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a young child would go sign up or be welcomed into the fight. You know, I mean, that happens in the Middle East. And so I think that there's a danger with that. Their daughter has psychological issues and anger issues.
Oh, right. I forgot that.
And that's hard on a family in a normal situation with good support. And can you imagine a family that's already at their breaking point, possibly, you know, to have that hanging over their heads. And especially with it being a daughter, you know, there are cultural things. The wife isn't even spoken about. The daughters are not named. My assumption is, especially since he keeps having kids, that there is a wife in the picture, but for her protection. And so in a country where your women are not, you know, allowed to be spoken of, are they getting the care they need? Are they able to be taken care of as women in such a patriarchal society? And so I think that there's a danger there with the male-female issues. I think that another risk is that Osama can't work and he's ill, so he cannot be a strength for his children. He cannot work, which is hard on a man, especially a man who has a very strong sense of what it means to be a man, which I'm putting that on him, but I'm assuming as he lives in the Middle East. They've lost resources like you talked about, and then again they're relying on Allah, and there's the danger of the way that I mean, it goes back to the relationships too, but how that can affect that relationship, how hard it is to be reliant on somebody else. If anything happens to Allah, or if he gets sick of helping, or if his business goes under, like they're reliant on somebody else. So I think that's hard. And then the last thing, and you don't have to write all these, you can write ones that you think are relevant, but
I'll write them down.
Yeah, because people think 100 or 100 to 200 words in each section.
Yeah. And then the last one is just that because he lives on government assistance, the family's relying on a resource that's in a volatile country. What happens if the country's infrastructure breaks down, or a military, you know, regime takes over, like happens in Pakistan every 5 years, you know, and so, you know, that's not exactly a solid resource either. So
right.
Those were some risks that I thought of.
Okay, great. Well,
Sarah, do you have any other added risks?
I can put all those in. I'm trying to simplify that.
It was kind of a lot.
No, that's awesome.
All right. So Sarah, did you have any other risk or dangers that you felt that we didn't talk about?
Then it would be, I guess, target for them in some way. I don't know. Do you think that sounds right?
No, it's kind of one of those, we live in we live in a great country. We really do. As much as turmoil that we have right now, we do live in a great country, and it's really hard because in a country like where they're at, that government assistance isn't really stable. It's not to completely rely on, and that's why he has to rely more on his family, the government, because the government is to take whatever money that he's getting and go give it to some military regime down the street to support that effect instead of them.
Yeah.
So you never know. So no, it's a good point. News Brooks section relevant. Sorry,
Okay.
presented to this family.
Okay. So I will name off the ones I've written, and then you guys chime in if I've missed any that you've noticed. So one is that Osama has other sons, and he can focus on them, and he has the opportunity to improve his relationship with them, and so he's not left alone. Another one is the family, like with CBT, can learn to live in the moment and appreciate the time they have with one another, like the family we talked about in the other case where their son died, and so everybody came closer together because they felt their time was short. The family could learn from little Mahmoud's example of being happy with little things like chocolate. Mahmoud's just excited to go back to school and that a visitor brought him chocolate. And so they could learn from his innocent example. The family can strengthen their faith and reliance on God to help them get through. Their faith, I'm sure, is very important to them. It sounded like it. And so they can turn to God to find meaning. You know, you've got to find meaning in tragedy that helps you get through it. The family has the opportunity to learn to forgive in even the most difficult circumstances. I think forgiveness and the ability to forgive is one of the greatest things we could ever give ourselves, one of the most important things we could ever work on. And so I think that by learning to forgive the Israelis, anyway, could be really good for them. And then lastly, the study talked about the husband and wife that got up early before all the kids were awake, and they sat down and they had their, I don't know,
coffee,
right? And and so the family does have the opportunity to be creative, to find ways to build each other up and to strengthen their relationships, even in this crazy place. And I think that when we accomplish something like that in a difficult circumstance, we feel better about ourselves. We feel capable, and we feel creative, and we feel empowered to keep trying because we've managed something, even if it's small. And so I think that definitely presents an opportunity as well.
Yeah. Something I think that kind of went back to the video from the last case study was they could become speakers of peace. Find some way to talk about how this affected them and be inspirational speakers to others.
Awesome. I think that's great. And that definitely presents new dangers for their family, like Malala in Pakistan. But I definitely think it sounds like it would be worthwhile for the family to make meaning out of tragedy, like we talked about. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like totally, against everything else.
Pay attention.
It could just be awareness. Just so you know, I'm still here. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I think that's a good point.
And to Malala, no, she's amazing anyway.
Okay,
Read them.
that's good.
Very
Great.
good.
Okay, then
Anything else?
Did you have anything, Jen, for that one that we didn't already cover?
no, I think you guys, they were the same as mine. I think I wrote down, yeah, everything that you said, I said. Okay, and I just added what Justine said.
All right, Sarah, you're up.
So, no important relationship considerations. So, first of all, the dad of Summer, he might feel bad around his friends, understand what he's going through. So his relationships with his friends will possibly be hurt, going through this situation alone.
Okay.
And, like I said earlier, all of the family's resources have changed because of the loss of their oldest son. We're sure he was very valuable to the family, especially in this situation and the place where they live. Their mother don't have him, so they're all going to have to change their status in the home.
Okay.
And his wife would have some dispute, and his dad, they have a problem with feeling well, Amir might feel like he has some things that he needs to change that are just not what he is. So he might try to change. And then,
So you're talking about Ahmed, the second son, where he has to feel like he has to live up to his brother that passed away. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay. So is that it?
Okay.
Okay. So did you guys get everything she said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she touched on all of them. One that I do think is important to consider is the relationship between Osama and Allah. I feel like normally we don't look too much at extended family, but in this case, because they're so reliant on Allah, I think that this relationship's important. For Osama's sake, they need to maintain their relationship, but it's got to put a strain on Allah that Osama's family needs help. And that even though Osama can't work, he has had more children. Osama needs Allah so their relationship can stay strong for that.
Okay. But Allah is the brother, or
Yes,
who is Allah? Remind
he's
me.
Osama's brother. He's Osama's brother. And he does have a family of his own. At the same time, as much of a risk, like I know that if I had to rely on my sister, if she got mad at me, she'd cut me off. That's how she is. In this in the Middle East, and I'm assuming they're Muslim, it's different. Family duty is very important to them, and so even if it's awkward, they're very giving with their family and all about hospitality. I'm assuming he's Muslim, but anyway, because of that, I think that even though they need to maintain that relationship, I feel like whether or not they do, Allah will still give to his brother when he can. But I do think that relationship needs to be maintained.
Mm-hmm. I do think the relationship, one more point, Sarah, if you can hear me, is his relationship with the outside community. Their family's relationship. You know, they have friends and neighbors that are still there, but there's probably a lot of other people, military, government, you know, that relationship is now been changed, damaged somewhat. Their lack of trust is not there anymore. You know, and so, you know, maybe if they're getting outside help from government or whatever, yes, that's good, but it's not a good relationship that they have with people in their community. And so it goes back to what Brooke said. It's really, really important to strengthen these family bonds, you know, with his brother and things like that, because that's where they're going to get the most support, not from outside community help. So maybe, you know, that factor put in there.
Get that, Sarah? Okay, so it was Osama's brother. The relationship with Osama's brother could be strained, and then the relationship between the outside community, how Osama may not trust them as much anymore, or he might trust them more. I don't know, but that relationship was strange. So those were the other two that were added, right?
Relationship between outside community.
Yeah, with the outside community, like with the military, or his new neighbors, because he probably did get new neighbors after his old neighbors passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, shopkeepers,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, like the people that in your town is all changed. Okay. And then, okay, Sarah has
Okay.
coping strategies too. Okay.
All right, Sarah, whenever you're ready to go ahead and do the coping strategies.
So recommended coping strategies, definitely reach out to family. That one will be a little tricky with they might feel like he doesn't understand quite what they're going through. So I don't know what to say about that one, but government assistance would be
All right, so reaching out to family government assistance, we definitely have the CTB that we need to incorporate here. And I think they could all do with some therapy, whether it's family or individual, with the post-traumatic stress that Jen talked about. All right, mine just went blank. What else, Brooke? What else, Jen?
One thing is mindfulness, like we talked about a couple different times. They need to come to terms with their situation, like Jen said, and they need to learn to live in the moment and be grateful for the time they have together. And they need to be able to focus on now, because if they worry, if they're thinking about the future, it's going to cause anxiety. If they're focusing too much on the past, it's going to bring depression. So being able to be more in the moment and accept that they can't change what's outside them, they can just be here, I think would be helpful. Family councils, like I think it was Jen brought up earlier, they need each other. They need to be able to talk through their problems. They need to assess their resources, all of that kind of stuff. And so they need to be connected with each other, and family councils is a good way to do that. We talked about psychological support. I think the family needs to be empowered through that. We talked about, when we watched the video, what the counselor did and how he tried to empower people and help them believe that they can be strong. So I think they need to be empowered. And then I think that one big thing for me is that the family needs to work on forgiveness. The damage and the distress is really hurting them. They need to focus on learning what they can change, instead of focusing on hate and frustration. And then we talked about the family finding a way to be involved in the civic process, so they feel they're doing what they can to improve their lives. They need to take control, and that can happen through activism, through speaking out, through just supporting their neighbors even. But serving other people and being involved will help them feel like they have power over their lives, instead of feeling like they're constantly being acted on, instead of ever being able to affect their lives.
Right.
Those are some things I had down.
Okay. I wrote those down. Those are all good.
Okay.
So since I'm doing the
All right.
write-up,
No, you're not doing the write-up. Justine's doing the write-up.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're just turning it in. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're just turning it in. I figured
There are 2 sections, and then I will put everybody's sections together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then I will
running over your
I
job.
will send you a copy of the write-up.
you're fine. You're fine. So you will write your 2 sections that you.
Yeah. I'm gonna
But
post
anyway.
those.
So
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. I'm sorry. I was
No,
thinking,
you're
I
fine.
have to write it up because I'm submitting it, but sorry.
I'm grateful that you're willing and that you didn't even think twice about it. So no worries. No worries.
All right, Brooke,
Okay.
recommendation to support an involved parties.
Okay. So number one, Allah needs help from other family members. It's a big burden to care for two family members on one, or for two whole families, and they're big families, on one salary. So if there are other family members that can help, I think Allah needs some help. Even if it means grandma comes and stays with Osama's family to help care for them or whatever. Also, I think it would be good for Allah to find ways for his brother to be able to contribute to the household. Osama is ill, but there would hopefully be some small things he could do so he doesn't feel useless. It would empower Osama, and it would hopefully be some things that could ease the burden on Allah. So that would be good. Osama's children can be encouraged to pitch in, whether that's working for their uncle when they get older, or finding small jobs to do. Or you don't want children to have to work, but it almost seems like it's necessary in the Middle East. But anyway, hopefully
You want to teach them skills. It's
Yeah.
working skills.
yes.
Really that they have to go to work.
Yeah.
It's that you want them to learn skills.
So they can take care of themselves when they grow up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, I get what you
Awesome. And then Allah's wife could be a support to Osama's wife. Hopefully those women can bond. They've experienced, Allah didn't have a son die, right? He just had a son injured at the same time that Osama's son died, right?
Yeah.
And so they understand each other. Like, for me, if I were to try to be her friend, say, I could empathize to a degree. I could hear her story and somewhat understand, but I haven't lived it. But by these women having lived through this, they would hopefully be a good support system for each other. So hopefully they can bond through that. So anyway, so there you go. Okay, so is there anything else that you guys felt?
Yeah, I think you covered everything. I mean, I list the other family, and let me see. Yeah, one thing, I don't know if this is even an option for them, but when they have tragedies like this, groups come in, like Red Cross, World Health Organization, something like that. So there might be some resources. Sometimes they don't honor them, with the atrocities happening around the world. Sometimes they don't honor those organizations and they're not available. But if they are, then they might be able to reach out to that to get some additional help. But I don't know. Sometimes, you hear about they are able to go in there, and sometimes they don't, they don't allow them in there. So I don't know.
Some of those organizations that I love and wish I could be a part of more is I feel like they offer distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Where they give them more hope and that they are good people and they're sorry that this happened. Gives them just a little bit of insight of your life isn't always going to be this way.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that they that sometimes those kids need. I mean, Muhammad is a very happy young man. It might not always be that way. So, yeah, but that's, and even just them going to school, going to a school where they can somewhat feel safe and go and just color a picture without having to feel completely guilty. Just offer a distraction.
Yeah.
So kind of going.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was just gonna, re-emphasize that I think the normalcy is gone from their life, and that is the real tragedy. That is the reason for the case study, is that they're not able to just live. They can't, and yet amidst it all, they still do. And, they just keep going on. And isn't that amazing how we do that? And I think that's the point of trial, is that you get through it. You get through it. It's really, really hard, but somehow you get through it. And, I don't know how to emphasize that maybe with my portion or whatever, but
in the Middle East, but I can relate, kind of like what Brooke was saying, where you know, I've never lost a child, but I have a way to relate to it. I have a way to relate to it with after surviving an F5 tornado years ago. Your community you just kind of, nothing else matters. And you just help wherever you can help, and you just rebuild where you can rebuild. And rally where you can rally. You really just kind of have to take one day at a time kind of thing. So, yeah, no, I think with, you know, it kind of goes into my additional resources. That's a little bit of it where they have the picture of Ahmad in his, you know, college, you know, kind of looking to the future, hope his dream. This is what my life could have been. They need to focus on what their life could have been now. They also need a place to mourn. To, you know, build the memorial, maybe not to him specifically, but to everybody that was lost that day.
Right.
They can all go and mourn together.
Yeah.
Very beneficial.
I think that's a great point too. That they do need to be able to mourn.
And they kind of can't mourn right now because everything is just kind of, you know, you'll have your moment of peace. So
Awesome.
but
That's wonderful.
yeah. So Sarah, do you have any other final thoughts?
I was just wondering what email I should send it to.
You can put it on the discussion board, our case study 5 discussion board in week 12. It's just the 4 of us in there. No.
Yeah, yep. Just put down your answers there, and then.
Yep. Put your answers there, and then we'll put it in the format. We'll edit it through, and then you can see ours and make any comments or things that we missed and edit. And then we'll probably either have this submitted today or tomorrow, one of the 2 days for you. Pretty quick.
Then to submit it, guys, I just take that document and
turn it in like
through the email and submit it, or how do?
No. Save it to your computer.
Okay.
And make sure you put in the link that Justine will send you, and then you just upload it like you normally would any assignment straight into iLearn.
Okay.
So what I'll do, Jen, is I'll put everything together once we have everything edited, the link, and then everybody's name, and then I'll just put it in the discussion as a link where you can discuss, or just click on the Word document. Okay, and then all you have to do is
save it.
Yeah, just submit it like you do any other, like your Crucible paper.
Okay.
So simple enough.
All right.
All right, is that it, ladies?
Awesome.
Do you need any help with the last section, Justine?
All right. What section?
The additional resources you may provide or suggest.
Memorial on there.
Perfect. Okay, I'll take it off of mine. That's perfect.
Okay.
I said for that one, I don't know if you want any extra things, but I said they need to turn to God for peace and meaning.
Yep,
and then, okay, perfect. And then community support. Maybe people around him that are better off can find ways to let Osama do a little work for them. So.
Okay. I'll put that one on mine.
Okay. Great.
Hey, lady.
It was so nice to talk with all of you and meet you.
Nice you guys.
Classes. How much longer?
Good luck with the last 2 weeks of class.
Yay!
We can do it.
Yay! So what is your semesters like next semester?
I've got 5 classes.
Whoa!
What?
But it's only 12. It's only 12. It's just I'm taking a 1 credit hour class to make a religion class work. So it's going to be nuts, but I've got 2 semesters left, so I am pushing through. It'll be worth it.
I've got 4. I've got 4 to go, and I'm taking 3 classes each 4, and it's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me.
1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 semesters left, and what should I call it? Well, I've got to call them up anyway because they waived a couple of my classes, or they waived, like, they gave me a religion waive, and then they waived my math class, but they didn't give me credit for it.
Oh.
The graduate plan, they're saying you need 11 credit hours. I'm like, no, I only need like 4. So, yeah, so I've got to make sure that they give me credit for those.
Yeah.
But anyway, because we're moving next year, I have to take my harder. So I think I'm taking the last of my hardcore classes. So I'm taking the easier classes. I don't know if there's such thing as easier classes.
I know, is there? With BYU Idaho, I don't know.
Every time I think I'm in an easy class, it ends up being hard. I took an art class thinking it was going to be easy, and I have not taken a class that hard the entire time I've been here. It was horrible. I squeaked by with like a 93.12 A because 93 was an A minus. Like it was, and it was supposed to be fun, but it was not. I grew a lot though. I grew a lot.
Was it Psychology 201?
Oh, I heard that's horrible.
I wanted
I'm
to
taking that
die.
next semester.
I've
Is
heard
it
so
hard?
many bad things about that.
No, Justine, tell me, give me the insights. I'm taking that next semester.
Are you
Your
on this?
tests. Your tests are what is the word? They're proctored tests. Have to go. I had to go to Weber State, which is local, and pay $20 a test, and there's 5.
Some librarians, though, Jen, some librarians will do it for free.
Yeah,
Institute
check with your library.
libraries. If you have, yeah,
Yeah, you have to figure out where your proctored test or where you're taking your tests, like within the first 2 weeks of class.
What?
It gives you a list of what you can do. Yeah. So, but my library won't do it.
did
So,
you
but
do,
you can go to.
What?
did you do Pathway, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have Pathway missionaries near you? You're in Texas, right?
Oh, I'm in Colorado, and I
Oh.
do.
So
Yeah.
a lot of times Pathway missionaries can do it too. And so that's what I've heard. I haven't had to do any proctor tests, thank goodness. But I have heard that Pathway missionaries can do it too.
There's 5 tests.
Ah,
Do it in someone's home. You have to do it at their business.
Mm.
Okay, my Pathway missionaries, they work.
Why?
So I know.
Why? So are they time tests?
No. And they're not easy tests. And I will tell you, I got a C in that class. I failed every single test, but still managed a C.
Well, that's
Oh,
Jen, I'll tell you this too. People talk about it a lot on the Facebook
It's a
support
lot
group.
of reading. This broadcast.